Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back on the path to, this time, the Albemarle. So, with that being said, let's look at our commander. We are on the Tier 4 Hawkins to begin with. We're running Azure Lane Belfast. We have Nikolai von Essen and Nikolai Kuznetsov as our commander inspirations. These may change depending on what I do. Now, keep that in mind. We are going to be running, let's see, Piercer. We've got Full Speed Ahead, which actually should be Igniter now. We've got Punch Through. We have Fixated, and we have Refill Station still. Now, Piercer, I could actually change over to this for extra range, and I think I will. Just due to the fact that because these are 203mm guns, you don't need that extra penetration necessarily. So we're going to go for extra range. Alright. So, let's get into the... Now, we've already talked in previous Path 2s about other commanders here. So we're gonna show Bruce Fraser here. Bruce Fraser build, again, Nikolai Kuznetsov, Norman Scott. We're running Beyond Range, Home Run, which I would go with Igniter, Punch Through, the Fixated, and Fully Packed would probably be a good build for this. And then, of course, William Tennant is kind of the tank build. You can see I don't actually use him, but you've got, you know, Burn It Down would be a good one instead of Piercer, or Ingenious if you like that sort of thing. Other than that, I mean, it's just, this is why I don't use this build. It's not that great, in my opinion. So, yeah. Hot Rod, I don't really think I have anything here either. Yeah, you've got Burn It Down again, or Ingenious with Piercer. What's this perk? Reduce air detection. Yeah, that doesn't do us any good. So, yeah. Wouldn't be using that. And then John Jellicoe, obviously, he's the generic commander, so he's got a little bit of everything, but not really good at anything. So, yeah. Wouldn't really go with him either. So, personally, I think it's between Belfast and Fraser. You can take your pick. If you don't have Belfast, obviously, I would go Fraser. But yeah, let's get into the equipment. We're running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are fully upgraded. If we look at the loadout, you can see we get 2 heals. We get 2 sonars. We're not running any boosters, and we're running the the Alpha Tester flag and the Type 4 camo. Alright. Stats. Survivability is 32,200 with a 10% torpedo damage reduction. Artillery, you get 7 190mm 45 caliber BL Mark 6s that reach out to 15.7 kilometers with this build and reload in 10.5 seconds. 180-degree turn time is 16.4 seconds. Now, these are 190mm guns. These are not 8-inch guns, but these are very, very close to 8-inch guns. These are basically 7.5-inch guns, which are really, really nasty. So keep that in mind. These are very good, and that reload time is also very good on these. HE shell maximum damage is 3,050 with an 18% chance to set fires, and AP shell maximum damage is 4,253. Now that's just the first big difference between the light cruisers and the heavy cruisers for the British. The light cruisers only get AP. The heavy cruisers can fire AP and HE, so you get to be a lot more versatile. Secondary armament, 102mm 45 caliber QF Mark 19s. You get 8 of those, reaching out to 4.7 kilometers and reloading in 3 seconds. They fire HE with a maximum shell damage of 1,500 and a 9% chance to set fires. Alright, so torpedoes. You have 533mm DR Mark IIs. You get 4 of those. A twin launcher on either side of the ship. They reload in just 53 seconds, and they have a maximum damage of 15,733 with a torpedo detectability of just 1.2 kilometers. Torpedo range is only 6 kilometers, but the torpedo speed is 59 knots. So, not the best torpedoes in the world. They do hit hard for the tier, so there's that. But they don't have much range, and they don't really have much in the way of speed, so not the best torpedoes. AA defense, you have 12.7mm Mark IIIs. You have 16 of those doing 8 damage per second, reaching out to 1.2 kilometers. Then you have the 40mm Vickers 2-pounder. You have 16 of those doing 56 damage per second and reaching out to 2.5 kilometers. And then you have the 102mm 45 caliber QF Mark 19 dual-purpose secondaries that you have 8 of that do 38 damage per second and reach out to 5 kilometers. Now, these are pretty respectable numbers for Tier 4, okay? They may not sound the greatest overall, but when you compare with other Tier 4 ships, I think you'll find that this isn't too shabby. Maneuverability, though, maximum speed of just 30 knots leaves a lot to be desired for a cruiser. Turning circle radius is not bad, but not great at 640 meters. And the rudder shift time's pretty bad at 9.1 seconds, so not great. Concealment. Detectability by sea is 10.1 kilometers. Detectability by air is 6.3 kilometers. Guaranteed detectability is always 2, and a 4.7 kilometer smoke firing penalty. Armor. You have a 38mm belt that goes all the way to the bow, which is nice, meaning you cannot be overmatched by anything in the game at the belt. However, if they hit high, that's only 13mm. Okay, so that can be overmatched by everything. I should do the math. Give me a second. Calculator, 13 times 14.3, 185.9 millimeters and larger, meaning we can overmatch our own bow as long as we're aiming high. So keep that in mind. Alright, it does have a weak bow, with the exception of that belt armor. Which means if you can angle this thing relatively well, you're going to be just fine. But you got to make sure you're angled, because if you're not, you're going to have a bad time, and I'll show you why. Look at this citadel. Look at how much of the citadel sticks out above the water. It is a massive citadel. And it is very easy to punch the citadel on this thing. If you overmatch the bow and you aim high, you're still likely to get citadel hits. If you go through the side, you're almost guaranteed citadel hits. It's disgusting. So keep that in mind when you're angling this ship. If you over-angle, you're probably going back to port. Overview. Sequential torpedoes, which is the British specialty. You get to launch them tube by tube. And then big guns. This ship is armed with high-caliber main guns. Hawkins, pioneering ship that led the way for a later class of heavy cruisers. The ship's layout and silhouette had much in common with the British light cruisers of World War I, but Hawkins surpassed them in size and the caliber of her main battery. She entered service in 1919, and there were 5 of them in the series. So let's take a look at it. Now, the reason this thing has such a great reload rate is because it actually has the ability, like, it's only single gun turrets. You got a single gun mount. That's why it's able to reload so fast. And you got to keep in mind, while you do have the extra turret, you have 2 of the turrets that are in wing turrets in the middle of the ship. And that causes issues with not being able to get all the guns to bear all the time. Now, that being said, you got 1 on either side, and you're going to be able to get a pretty solid broadside in whichever side you decide to shoot off of. So you've got 3 guns at the rear. We got 2 in the middle as wing turrets, and we got 2 at the front. So you've got 7 total guns, but 1 of them will not be able to be used at any given moment. So the maximum guns that you can get on target at any given time is 6. Okay? And with that being said, I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't really care for the looks of these ones. The heavy cruisers for the British are kind of, you know, showing their age, not gonna lie. But, I mean, what can you expect? I mean, really, there's only so much you can do with some of these ships. And, honestly, it's not the worst. But, yeah. For a Tier 4 cruiser, it can be quite fun. And with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we're going to be on straight, and we are in the Hawkins. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this one's going to be an interesting match all the way through. It's kind of a crazy match. But that's to be expected from time to time at these lower tiers, man. Sometimes you just end up with ridiculously crazy matches that defy logic, but at the same time, you just can't help but love. So I can really understand why a lot of people come back down to these lower tiers and play more often than they play the high tiers. And that is simply the fun factor. I'll be real honest with you. It is a lot more fun playing lower tiers than it is playing higher tiers, because I feel like there's just more balance at low tiers. Now, how crazy is that? I mean, with the exception of the Kamikaze, pretty much everything else has a good chance. I mean, a couple of the battleships are a little bit broken at lower tiers. And by broken, I mean they literally just annihilate everything in their path, as long as they play well. But for the most part, everything else is pretty well balanced. I mean, cruisers can be absolutely devastating, as we're going to show. They can tank damage when they need to. They can be incredibly balanced by going back to port very quickly if you screw up. But overall, I think we're going to showcase this ship pretty well. So we're going to push over to the right side, try to help out this destroyer and cruiser that's over here, and see if we can't win this side. Now, there are only 2 battleships and a carrier on the enemy team to worry about. The rest are 2 destroyers and 3 cruisers. So we've got a pretty easy fight ahead of us, with the exception of the fact that we are now spotted and shooting at a battleship. And we're going to get touched, I believe, right off the bat, man. I'm not going to lie. It caught me off guard. I'm fairly confident. I could be wrong. Maybe this isn't the match where somebody touches me, like, right off the bat. I thought we got away with this, and we're going to get just... Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So, maybe that ain't what happened. I could have swore this was the match where I started off by getting, like, half my health taken away immediately. But apparently not. We are going to go up against both of their battleships over on this side of the map. And we're going to be doing it mostly alone, though we're not going to get credit for most of what our work is, because there is going to be a destroyer come over here with us on this side, and he is going to be instrumental in how this match plays out. So just you'll have to see it to believe it. I'm telling you, this is crazy. But we're going to push up. Again, you see Kotovsky, and this Kotovsky has lost his God-blessed mind. Like, you cannot do this. These guys have been spotted this entire time, and this Kotovsky's like, I got it. I'm going in. 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, a destroyer headed this way, a carrier. Screw it. What could go wrong? I'm going in. And so, let's see how long that works for him. Shall we? Well, we've already lost a Phoenix to a Danae over on the other side. You gotta love that. And you can see I can't shoot yet. And Kotovsky seems to be doing okay. He's got an Ishizuki out here that he's trying to launch torpedoes on, and he does get his torpedoes off, so there's that. We come around the corner. We've got a beautiful look at this guy. We hit him with the HE initially, and you can see between our HE and the torpedoes that the Kotovsky managed to land, we did quite a bit of damage there. And we load up the armor piercing, thinking we might be able to get some damage with the armor piercing. Unfortunately, isn't the way it works out. Now, unfortunately for the Kotovsky, that's all he gets. He gets 1 torpedo strike against an Ishizuki and gets absolutely annihilated by the Königsberg. Now, the Königsberg, to his credit, also lost some health. So, the Kotovsky, in the dumbest push possible, managed to do quite a bit with his life before he passed away, unfortunately. Or fortunately. So it wasn't like he threw himself away. But you didn't need to go that hard. You really didn't. You could have played this a little smarter and done a lot more to help yourself. Now this Königsberg comes around the corner. This was never going to work for him. This was never going to work for him. Now you can see we'd already used the sonar. We knew he was going to try to hit us with those freaking torpedoes. So we were ready for him. Not scared whatsoever. And we take a shot at the Danae over here, hoping that we hit him. And this is going to showcase the downside of these heavier cruisers for the British is you can't really play them at range. And I know I've set a lot of things into range for extra range in this build, but honestly, it's not a strong suit of the ship. So you might be better off trying to, instead of speccing for range, speccing for other things like maneuverability and stuff. But we are going to be going up against one of the most obnoxious freaking Podvoiskis I have ever had the unfortunate, like, pleasure of playing against. This guy is going to be all but impossible to hit. Or at least for me. I'm trying to hit him, and this guy literally dodges, like, everything. And then he hits us and gets a fire, like, immediately. It's like, really? And then he pops out of his smoke, and he's able to get me spotted again, so I'm waiting for him to pop up. We've got HE loaded. We know he's there. And we're kind of thinking, where's the destroyer, or where's the battleship here? So I think well, I say that. Yeah, there it is. Oklahoma gets spotted. He's doubling back. He's coming around to the left side of the island. We're going to try to launch some torpedoes out ahead and get ready to hit him. And again, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be this close to battleships who are going to have access at very generous angles to my ship. So we're going to go ahead and launch some torpedoes. We're launching them 2 by 2. Remember, you only get 2 torpedoes per side. They do hit like a Mack truck if you're able to hit, though. So there's that. And this Subra that's right next to us, this guy, he's really doing a good job of helping the team, but at the same time, he's like being very obnoxious as a teammate. Like, this man has no intentions of doing things that is, you know, a little risky. He's playing very passively in his destroyer. And while it ends up doing well for him in the end, and helps the team, it could have been better, if you ask me. Now, we hit him with 2 torpedoes, both of those doing some good damage. We got the flood, and then, of course, we lose our Bellerophon to their Minakazi. I think it was a Minakazi. But we get a fire on the Danny. He's trying to do his best, but he can't do crap. He's only got AP to shoot at me, and that's not going to do any good. But we do have an Omaha that's a lot closer. Now, remember, we can overmatch 13mm bows. So we're just going to fire that armor piercing right into the bow. And unfortunately, we ricochet 3 shells. It is real unfortunate. But Danny, again, just out there begging for it. And the Subra gets the kill. Like, we shoot at the Danny, nothing. Subra shoots at the Danny, kills it. Podvoisky shoots back. Omaha's here in a position that we might be able to do something. Again, I'm trying to not put myself in danger of that Oklahoma. I don't want to get myself hit by that Oklahoma. Omaha, I'm not real afraid of. I overmatch, so if he battle tanks me, I can kill him. We're just doing our best to stay alive, conserve our hit points, and keep this fight coming to the enemy. Omaha comes around the corner. We're already ready for him. We finish him off with citadels before he even has a chance. Like, dude literally had no chance. By the time we lit up on his screen, he was a dead man. Like, it just straight up didn't have a chance. Our battleship pushes a little too far forward. He gets burnt down by the Omaha, and I'm sure that the Oklahoma had something to do with that as well. And you can see I am kind of looking back there. You can see I click on defend the base. Now, in my mind, when I clicked defend the base, the friendly destroyer was going to go back and defend the base. That isn't what happened at all. And I will give a shout out to our carrier. Our aircraft carrier absolutely crushes it on his side of the map. And he watches the channel and said hello. So hello to you also, Hermes. Appreciate you. And yeah, this is going to be one of those times where the carriers go, oh my god, and that's why we didn't want to get shot by the Oklahoma. That's what I'm talking about. We use our last heal. We're getting all of ourselves out of trouble. We've got the guy burning again. He's going to be dying pretty soon. And he gets finished off by the Subra again. It's just like the Subra was there to just finish everything off. Like, we can get the damage on people. We just can't quite finish them as usual, you know, in true Spartan fashion, that sort of thing. But you can see we are taking hits from this pod, and we don't have the health for this. So we're going to try to go back towards the base because I fully expected this destroyer to kill our carrier. 100%. I thought for sure our carrier was dead, and I thought for sure that destroyer would be able to get into the base. So I leave this pod and our Subra to fight one another, and I go back to try to help defend the base.
Retreat now.
But to my surprise, the friendly Hermes is no slouch and is fully capable of defending himself against this destroyer player. And so, to my surprise, he manages to kill him. He gets a nice torp strike here on the Minakazi, and, wait for it. Oh, he missed him with the first set. Hold on. He's going back for round 2. Will he miss him again? I don't know, folks. Looks like he's going in pretty good. And down he goes. Beautiful defense by the Hermes. Much appreciated there, Krabby. Appreciate you watching the channel as well. And with that, that just leaves the carrier and the destroyer. Now, our destroyer has taken a beating. I have taken a beating. But together, we should be able to handle this freaking pod. This guy is running out of room. He's running out of time. We've got the points lead. We don't have to do anything crazy. All we got to do is hold it. And our Subra, all he has to do is stay in the base. And to his credit, the enemy Podvoisky knows this and comes back to defend his cap. You'll see it's actually about to be contested any moment. We've got to worry about the carrier still, because this carrier is trying to kill us. Or he was. Now he's going for our destroyer. But you can see it is contested now. That enemy pod is in the base, contesting. So our Subra is in danger. Not just from the carrier, but also from the enemy pod, who has already proven himself to be a good player. Dude knows what he's doing. He's done a very good job of conserving his hit points. He's been firing his guns for the entire game. He's done a lot to try to help his team win. Unfortunately, he's just not quite pulled it off. And we do land a few hits. And you can see when we do land hits on this guy, it's a bad time for him. And unfortunately, it's just not enough for him to be as good as he's played the entire match. It just does not end well for him here. You can see he's trying to smoke up here. We unfortunately missed the shot, but our guy is on target. You can see he's hitting those shots even though the guy goes dark. We're going to turn in and try to get in a position to spot the carrier. Our guy has left the cap, which I understand when somebody's contesting and you're low health, it sometimes is best to just get out of the cap. Again, we don't want to lose anybody, because if we lose somebody, we could lose the match. But anyway, he gets the guy spotted again. The pod actually turns away initially, but that goes right towards our Subra, and Subra is able to take him out. Again, between me and the Subra, we have literally single-handedly just carried this match. Now, the carrier on the friendly team has also done a great job in securing the base and making sure that he didn't die in the process, and so for that, we thank you. But now we've got the enemy Hermes out here, so we're going to try to hit him, and this is where you're going to see me testing some things. I fire the AP initially, and you can see we were getting some penetrations on the first salvo, and then we just get nothing. Just not able to penetrate that deck armor on the Hermes. And even when we do hit him. So we're going to switch back over to the HE and start to farm him with HE instead. Now there's 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, and the Hermes goes dark. Because of course he does. Right? That's how that works. But it's not going to take us very long to get him spotted again. The destroyer's back in the base, capturing the base. The carrier's trying to attack the destroyer. And again, we have such a lead now that even if we do lose the destroyer, it's not the end of the world. And so, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and push the issue. We've got him spotted again, and we are going to go ahead and try to remove this man. But you can see the HE is doing damage, even where our armor piercing couldn't penetrate. So we're sizing him up for torpedoes. We get our Confederate with that last salvo. We've already caused a fire, so he's going to be damage conned because it's an automatic damage con. And now we're in range to torpedo this man, so we launch our 2 torpedoes out ahead of him and hope to God that he runs into them. Now, obviously, he's going to have these torpedoes spotted because the planes that he's going to bring towards me are going to spot them. But you can see between the destroyer shooting him, me shooting him, and my torpedoes, he's not got much of a chance. And the carrier's actually over here torping him as well. So he's not long for this world, is what I'm saying. And you can see it now at these ranges, we're starting to stack up the damage pretty well. Every time we shoot him, we're getting like 2,000 to 3,000 damage per salvo. And there's our torpedoes, right on cue to finish him off and give us our 3rd kill of the game. So we end up having a pretty solid game. Not an amazing game, but 1,700 base XP, 3 kills. Subra coming in there with 4 kills. And then Hermes coming in as an honorable mention down there, holding his side as well. But between the 2 of us, we killed 7 of the enemy's 9 ships. So if you like what we're doing, punch the like button. leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.